and this season that you're watching is the Ugly Stepsisters of Stones, where we cover 12 stones that are unpopular but you can learn more about and make special to you. So if that's what you're interested, then stay tuned and keep watching. So Charoite is actually a very rare stone. It can only be sourced to one area of the world, and that is the Chara River in eastern Siberia. Charoite was discovered by scientists in the 1940s, but it wasn't recognized by the International Mineralogical Association. It wasn't recognized by them until 1978. So it had been about 30 years until it was actually popular. The 1970s is actually when it blew up. So I have up two pictures, the top being amethyst and the bottom being Charoite, and you can kind of see why I call Charoite the older sister. I just feel like she's moodier, she's more low-key. She just kind of reminds me of like the goth emo older sister of amethyst. Charoite, as you can see, is more opaque, and that is one of the unique factors of Charoite. It also has very deep purples, black, gray, brown, and also pink. And because there's also like little crystallites that like little crystal deposits that you'll see, so it's almost, think of it of like a cup of Kool-Aid. Think of like the dark purple, the black, the gray, you know, all those colors, and then just think of like chunks of ice. That's kind of what Charoite looks close up. So you'll see like crystal deposits in it. And because it's such a specific characteristic, it has such a specific look to it, it's a very, very difficult stone to duplicate. It's kind of easy off the bat to tell if it's real or not. So one of the websites I was reading from, I think Gemsociety.org, was pretty much saying that when you go online and purchase Charoite, you shouldn't have to really worry about knowing whether it's real or fake, because it's pretty hard to fake it anyway. So, and if someone was faking it, they probably would spend the same amount of money duplicating it than just selling you the real thing. So, you know, you don't really have to worry about it. It's not like quartz or like rose quartz that are a lot easier to fake. So yeah, no shade to quartz or rose quartz or amethyst, but you know, we gotta call a spade a spade. So what you probably clicked on this video for was to learn about the spiritual properties or the metaphysical properties of Charoite. So based on the color, you guys could probably take a quick guess as to what chakras it probably is associated with. Ding ding ding, crown chakra. It's purple. Not all purple, you know, automatically means it's the crown chakra, but it's one of the chakras it's associated with. It's also been associated with the third eye chakra and also the etheric chakras, or that's what the article I read called them, but I just call them your extra chakras. It is associated with protecting the auric field, so just warding off negative energy, but also it didn't say anything about sleep and about connecting to dreams, but because it connects you, it's supposed to help connect to the ethereal realms. That's what it's believed to do. I would assume that it's smart to sleep with it under your pillow. So gemsociety.org that I mentioned earlier was pretty much saying to meditate with it on your forehead, like to meditate with Charoite on your forehead, that it's good for you know, your third eye. But I would think that sleeping with it, but also sleeping with it and then the next day traveling with it, that would be the way I would use it. Like I would sleep with it under my pillow, and then I would probably like wake up and write my dreams out and then travel with it to remember my dreams and hold them with me. Like that's how I would personally use it. But you know, this is all hearsay. This is no fact. This is just, you know. There was another website that I had read from called gemrockauctions.com, which I actually believe a lot in what they're saying about. Well, you'll hear more about them later, but I kind of trust them because they actually like. I think they actually sell rocks to people. They actually sell these gemstones, so I would assume they know what they're talking about because they're like dealing with this stuff. Um, but anyway, based on that website, based on gemrockauctions.com, it's also tied to heightening intuition and your discernment. So it was talking about like, using Charoite, probably just, carrying it with you, keeping it in your bra, keeping it in your pocket, whatever. This is not their exact words, but just keeping it with you can help you believe in your intuition more, you listen to your intuition more, because there's so many times where we have like a gut feeling about something and we don't really listen to it. We kind of just ignore it. We kind of just like, brush it off like, what was that? It doesn't matter. That was just some spooky, assumption I had. And then, time passes and it turns out that what we believed or what we thought was true, even if it didn't physically present itself. Our intuition was true. And so holding that and just kind of keeping it as a totem, even just looking at it throughout the day, taking it out, it can kind of just be a symbol of our intuition, to, practice strengthening it, because intuition is a muscle. It's always going to be there, but it's stronger when we keep practicing it. And just, using it as a symbol of our intuition may help us to stay grounded in it throughout the day and help us to constantly remind ourselves of it. And of course, when we have a stronger intuition, we're going to, 9 times out of 10 act on that, and we're going to use our discernment. So it's said to, kind of help us remember that as well. Now we can talk about jewelry and Charoite, and also ways it's used in jewelry, how suitable it is for jewelry. So as I was reading, I found the Mohs scale, Mohls scale, which I believe measures the hardness of a stone, like the actual core hardness of it. And Charoite is it's a 5 to 6 on the scale. So it's not super hard, but it's not super soft. It's like in the sweet middle. And it's durable for jewelry, but it does have two shortcomings. One of that being scratching, and another one being heat resistance. So although it's pretty hard as a stone, it is kind of susceptible to scratching depending on the surface, probably against other stones or against metals. Just any like really hard surfaces or sharp surfaces will probably scratch it, probably shards of glass, things of that nature. So it's recommended to keep it very delicately handled when using it for jewelry, or just, if you have an orb that you like to carry around, maybe carrying it around with a cloth enclosed on it, or just keeping it wrapped in some type of fabric, just to prevent, it being scratched up, because you want your stone to look pretty. You want it to keep, want to keep it pristine, as if it was a diamond, or as if it were, a precious metal. And also, I don't know if films are created to protect stones. You guys could educate me down below. If there's like films, like liquids that are put on stones to prevent them from scratching, or I don't know, but that might be an option if it exists. Or I was even thinking, there's usually when jewelry is made and you want to protect the actual stone, they'll have like a enclosure on the stone. So for example, if it's a pendant, like you'll have a case for the stone to put inside, and then the metal protects it from outside, materials from contacting it. So that could be another option. The third option is just to be very careful. Just no fancy strings attached. Just be very delicate with it. Now, as far as heat resistance, it's not really hard to care for it. I actually don't think that it's much different than other stones. Just don't put it in hot fluids. Don't put it in hot water. Don't put it in boiling hot water. To clean it, it's recommended to just get dish detergent, warm water, and a brush, which I don't know about a brush, because if it scratches easily, I personally would just use a cloth and wash it, or even just hand wash it and rinse it. People also use salts to wash or to clean their stones energetically, so I don't know how salt would work with it because of its chemical properties, but I'm sure it's fine. Anyway, no hot water. No steam, no boiling hot water. It's going to mess up the stone. Also, direct sunlight, which is very common with stones, is not recommended for it either. I'm not sure what will happen, but the gemstone boogeyman is going to get your Charoite if you keep it in the sun, so don't do it. Yeah. So let's talk about some jewelry pieces I saw, or I had seen. When I looked up Charoite jewelry, a lot of the pieces were Navajo. Like, they would say Navajo pendant, Navajo ring. So I'm not sure if it was very popular among Navajo people to use this stone. Definitely educate me down below if it was. Like I said before, Charoite is a relatively newly discovered stone. It was only discovered in the 1940s, so I don't imagine that anyone was really using it in ancient times, or maybe if they were, maybe like Western society wasn't aware of Charoite until recent. So I found it interesting that a lot of Navajo jewelry, you know, used it, because I'm like, if it had only been discovered in the 1940s, Navajo people have been around for a long time. So either, I don't know, some math is not mathing. Someone could, again, educate me, because I didn't really understand that. But the jewelry was very beautiful nonetheless. I saw some rings, some pendants. I didn't see any earrings, but like you'll see in these pictures, a lot of them had some type of metal and capsule, and they put the stone inside, and then it was kind of like on display. So very, very, very pretty, and I love it so much. And I think I want to get a Charoite pendant for myself, because I feel like it just, I get it, I feel like it matches my mood right now in life, so you know, why not? But yeah, as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you do like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you thought, what you want to see more of on the channel, and I will talk to you guys later.